Hello students, welcome back to Navik Educator channel. So now, hello students, welcome back to Navik Educator channel. Let's move on to the some basic concept of chemistry. So chemistry is a branch of science that deal with a composition, structure and properties of matter. So matter, which means that anything which can occupy the space, that is called solid, liquid and gases. So now composition of a solid. Here the solid particles are closely and tightly arranged with each other. There is no space between the two particles. And in a liquid there is a little space between the two particles, and there is some movement in a liquid particles. And in gases the particles are arranged in a far, and there is a huge space between two particles. The particles are moved in a randomly, and the structure in a structurally, the each compound it has a specific structure. Either here there is one example which is called acetic acid. In acetic acid there is a CH3 group and OH group is attached into the carbon, and this carbon is attached to the double bond to a oxygen. So every compound it has its own structure. Okay, so now next, the properties of compound. Example, NaCl. So NaCl it is the compound, and it has two elements which is called sodium and chlorine. So here the physical properties of sodium chloride, which is called molecular weight, atomic weight of sodium, atomic weight of a chlorine, appearance and solubility, density, melting point, boiling point and freezing point. These are called physical properties of NaCl. So now in chemical properties, how NaCl is a react with a metal, non-metal, noble gases and alkaline. Okay, so these are the properties of a compound. So another example here, the milk is a consist of a carbohydrate. In a carbohydrate there is called lactose. The lactose is made up of two monosaccharide which is called a glucose and galactose. Okay, so now this is the composition of the lactose. Okay, and there is a specific structure of a glucose and galactose. Okay, so this is the structure of a lactose. Okay, so hydrogen, hydroxyl group, hydrogen, hydroxyl group, hydrogen, H, CH3OH, like that. Here this is the composition of lactose. Okay, here this is called a glucose, this is called a galactose. Okay, now we move on to the branches of chemistry. In a branches of chemistry, physical chemistry, organic chemistry, inorganic chemistry, analytical chemistry, biochemistry, environmental chemistry, nuclear chemistry. So the first one here, this is another slide. Organic chemistry, inorganic, physical, analytical and biochemistry. These are the important branches of chemistry. Let's move on to the physical chemistry. Physical chemistry, here the behavior of the matter at the molecular and atomic level. So now here there is a hot particle which it will move into the lower particles of the substances. Okay, example which is called a thermodynamic, in that relationship between the heat, work and energy. So now here we are talking about heat. So now the behavior of the atoms is move from a hotter region into the colder region. Okay, Next, organic chemistry. In organic chemistry, basically we are studying about a carbon containing compounds and the properties, reaction and synthesis. Organic chemistry mainly focus on carbon and hydrogen. Example, alkaline, alkene, okay, alkynes. Okay, these are called mainly presented in a carbon and hydrogen. It has a single bond, double bond and triple bond. Here you are observing that methane, ethane, propane, butane, these are the alkanes. Okay, so alkenes CnH2n and 2. This is the basic general formula of alkenes. Okay. Next, inorganic chemistry. Here there is a typically do not containing the carbon. Okay, mineral sources do not containing the carbon. And here potassium dichromate, sodium manganese oxide, nickel chloride, okay, copper sulfate, cobalt sulfate, zinc sulfate. These are the example of inorganic chemistry, and it does not containing the carbon and hydrogen group. Okay. Next, there is a difference between organic compound and inorganic compound. The organic compound mainly have hydrocarbons and their derivatives, and here DNA, nail polish remover, candle, paint, soap, perfume. These are called organic compounds. And inorganic compounds, most are inorganic compounds do not containing the carbon atom. Them. Here water, diamonds, NS, salt, calcium carbonate, which is presented in the chalk, HCl, carbon dioxide. These are called inorganic compound. It is not containing the carbon atom. Okay, so now let's move on to the analytical chemistry. In analytical chemistry, basically we are focusing on a qualitative analysis and quantitative analysis of the compound or sample. Okay, with the help of HPLC. HPLC, it is the analytical instrument which is called high performance liquid chromatography, mainly focusing on identifying and quantifying the food additives. Okay. Next, biochemistry. Biochemistry is a branch of science that study of a chemical process that occur within the living organism. So, in a living organism, either it is a plant or animal or insects. Okay. So, plant, animal, insect, these are the living organism which has a chemical process. In a chemical process, mainly the metabolic process. In a metabolic process, in a human being and animals. Okay. So how the macromolecules, it will give a ATP. Okay. So macromolecules, which is called a carbohydrate, protein, lipid, okay, minerals, how these are going to give a ATP and carbon dioxide and water molecule. Okay, so these are the chemical process which is occurs in a human body as well as a animal and a plant. Okay, in a plant there is a photosynthesis. Okay, C3 plant, C4 plant, these are the chemical process which is occurs in a plant. Okay, so now biochemistry is also helpful for detecting the contaminated food with the help of PCR. Okay, PCR means polymer chain reaction. Okay, with the help of that we can detect the contaminated food. Okay, and content of a food is determined their nutritional values. Okay. Next, environmental chemistry. In environmental chemistry, there is study a chemical process that occurs in an environment, impact on human activities on their environment. Okay, so now how the chemical process is going to occur in an atmosphere. You may know that all other gases, 1%, oxygen is a 21%, nitrogen is a 78%, which is presented in the atmosphere. Okay, so now different gases were presented in a atmosphere: nitrogen, oxygen, argon, carbon dioxide, neon, helium, methane, krypton. These are the different type of gases which is presented in the atmosphere. How these are going to impact on the human activities? Suppose increase the carbon dioxide due to the human activities, excessive usage of the vehicles, excessive usage of the industries. How these are going to impact on the human activities and human beings and plant and animals. Okay, an example is called gas particles in the atmosphere, contaminated in a water sources, study contaminated soil. Okay, these are the study of the environmental chemistry. Okay, so how the contaminated water is going to occur in a environment. So how the contaminated soil is going to occur in a farmland. Okay, so these are the importance of the environmental chemistry. Okay, so now importance of chemistry. What is the importance of chemistry? Here mainly agriculture area. So in agriculture area, using the chemical fertilizer, we can get a more yield. Fertilizer, which means that enhance the growth of the plant, enhance the yield of the productivity. Example here, fertilizers are called urea, ammonia, ammonium sulfate, sodium nitrate. These are called a nitrogen bases. These are the product we will it will give a nitrogen. Ammonium phosphate, ammonium hydrogen phosphate, these are the chemicals it will give a phosphate. Okay, potassium nitrate and potassium sulfate, these are called, it will give a sulfur contained chemicals. Okay, so now here mono ammonium phosphate, okay, ammonium nitrate, okay, ammonium sulfate, these are the fertilizer which we can use in a farmland to enhance the growth of the plant and yield. Okay, so now in agriculture field we can also use pesticides or and insecticides are used to protect the crop from the pest and insect. Example, insects sites are kill the insect, pesticides it will kill the pests. Example, boric acid, DDT, dichloro diphenyl trichloroethane, okay, parathyroid. Okay, these are the example of pesticides. Okay, in a chemistry uses in a healthcare sector. So here there is a drug, there is a drug and natural resources and synthesize the drug. There are some chemicals which will cure the cancer treatment. Okay, cisplinit and taxol, these are the treatment of a cancer, and azidothymidine in a treatment of a HIV patient, anesthesia, antibiotic, antiseptic, these are made up of chemicals. Okay, so chemistry is also helpful in a healthcare sector. Okay, and it is also a help in a skin replacement, that is called silicon polymer and polylactic acid. These are the chemical which we can use in a skin replacement. Okay, and knee replacement we can use a titanium and cobalt chromium based on a alloy, a plastic, or cermexis. Okay, so these are the made up of chemicals which we can use in knee replacement. Okay, next, blood vessel replacement and here expanded a polytetrafluoroethylene and polyethylene. These are the chemical which we can use blood vessels replacement. Okay, here this is the structure of the compound. Okay, chemistry is also used in industry in manufacturing synthetic fibers or chemical fibers in a textile industry. Example, polyester and nylon. Okay, polymer of industry relies heavily on chemistry to design, synthesize and process of polymer. Example, polythene and polypropanol. Okay, so these are the chemicals which we can use in a manufacture of the synthetic fibers. Okay, next, manufacturing of a plastic in a polymer industry, that is called a PET, polyethylene tetraphenolate. PVC, you might have heard several times PVC pipe. Okay, polyvinyl chloride. So this is the chemical of a PET. Okay, so polyvinyl chloride, it is the chemical which we can use the production of pipes, wire, packaging, automotive material, toys, medical purpose. Okay, these are the helpful of polyvinyl chloride. Okay, thank you.